How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready.
Have you ever had a guy waste excessive amounts of your time and energy? Well, what if I told you you can avoid wasting all that time if you just knew exactly what you should be looking for in men? If you want to learn what it is you should be looking for, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing 5 signs he's going to waste your time. That way you don't spend years of your life invested into a guy who's only going to disappoint you. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Okay, so good to see all you beautiful people here today. Always something new, which is always something new to deal with. That's why we kind of a little bit late today. Sorry, I blame me. I take accountability. All right. Narrative here in the TikTok chat. We got Zyra here in the TikTok chat. Trina here. Lennon Leak is here. Zozo is here. T is here. Alfredo is here. And of course, we have our 3 moderators, Sharice, SH, and Scotty here. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? Yvette is here. Cindy is here. Mary is here. Whitney is here. Justice is here. Irina is here. Cecilia is here. And of course, we have some of our amazing channel members. I see Nicole Cottom here in the chat. I see Tracy Nels here earlier. I see Great Fortune Cookie here in the chat. One of our amazing channel members. Olga, one of our amazing channel members, is here. And of course, we have Missy America holding down our YouTube. Oh no, it's Friday. Missy America's not here today. Okay. And good to see all of you beautiful people on this Friday. Usually I'm like more on time on Fridays because it is Friday. Does it feel like a Friday to you guys? Maybe it's just me that it doesn't really feel like Friday. I feel like we're in midweek still. I don't know why. It's weird. Maybe my clock is off. My body clock is off. All right, chat. Let's hop into our first segment today. And our first point today, very important topic, because I personally think one of the biggest skill sets you can develop in your time, in your dating life, is your ability to be able to spot men who are on their way to wasting your time. Because you know, what I always want for you, and I always want for you, is for you to be in a position where you are spending your time in the right places. Meaning that you're not spending time with people who you ain't even go end up in a relationship with. Why? Because it's a waste of your time. You only have so many days on this earth, okay? So we're going to start off with number 1, which is to be unsettled. Now, I know you guys love this term from yesterday, so we're going to bring it back. It's a little inside joke for the chat. So we call this the BV, all right? BV stands for, I know it sounds really funny, BV stands for the best version of you, okay, right? Each and every one of us, we should be striving for the best version of ourselves in life, right? We're trying to get somewhere, we're trying to grow, we're trying to progress to the best version of ourselves. As you're doing that, right? As you're trying to progress to the best version of yourself, there is what we call like a train, right? And this is not a train in a dirty way, okay? A train in a nice, clean way. Get your mind out of the gutter. Now, this train of yours is you and your life moving forward and progressing to that BV, that best version of you. Now, this is what should also be happening for the men that you find yourself dating and in relationships with. They should also have their own train moving towards, let me put an arrow here, moving towards this best version of themselves, okay? Moving in a positive and forward direction. Now, here's the really interesting part that I want you to take notice of when you start dating men. You need to understand, is he in a place where he feels comfortable where he's at and in where he's going? Now, I'm going to say a couple of different points. They're slightly unrelated, but I want to be very specific on how they're different. When I'm talking about being unsettled, I'm talking about saying to himself, oh, I still have lots that I want to do. So this is some of the things that you'll hear guys say when they're unsettled. I'm in a place in my life, I want to travel. I want to explore. I want to see what life has to offer me, okay? Let me know in the chat if you've ever heard a guy talk like that before. I want to explore the world. I want to travel the world. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Ethiopia, see the big booties over there. I want to go to Australia, see some snakes. I want to just explore. I feel like I've been boxed in my whole life. I'm not yet in a place where I want to be thinking about anything except seeing what life has to offer me. Let me know if you've ever heard a guy say that to you. Now, this is a great, valuable sign to you to let you know that this guy is about to waste your time. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to explore and see all of what life has to offer. But what that should tell you indirectly, this is why it's great to ask men about themselves and what they want for their own life. Because indirectly, what he's telling you is, I am unsettled, okay, in my life. I still have lots of exploring I want to do. I still have lots of experiences I want to gain. I want to go to France. I want to go to the French Eiffel Tower, the one in France. I want to go to the Paris Eiffel Tower. I want to go to all those different Eiffel Towers. I want to explore all that life has to offer me. Okay? And it sounds great in a movie and it sounds great in theory, but in reality, when he is in that mindset, he has no intention of settling down with one person, right? Coloring and painting with you on a Saturday night and just having quiet, easy fun with you. That is not going to be stimulating enough for him if he is in that unsettled, restless place in his life, right? So we have this train that's supposed to be moving towards the best version of himself. But at this point in time, this guy is basically telling you, I don't even know what the best version of me is. And I don't even have this train moving in any positive direction. One day this train's moving forwards, another day this train's moving backwards, another day this train's moving right, and another day this train's moving left. I have to even figure out what if I even have a train. I have to even figure out what my train even looks like. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit related to direction, but I mean it in the sense of how settled do you feel in your life? Sometimes you might meet a guy, and in the process of you meeting him, and you ask him, this is one of the great questions you can ask a guy if you want to figure out how settled he is in his life. If you ask him something like, where do you want to live in the future? And he's telling you something like, I don't know, I gotta go and live in a couple of different places to first figure out what speaks to me. There's nothing wrong with that answer. But what I want you to understand is that's literally a sign to you that he's telling you, I haven't yet figured out where I want to be. And I'm still in the process of figuring that out. So I need the space and the freedom. We're going to talk about freedom in a little bit. I need the space and the freedom to figure out who I am and where I'm at in life in order to properly determine what I want my future to look like, what I want this best version of me to be. Okay? Now, I know even some nice guys, some friendly guys, and some non-evil or player guys might give you that answer. It still all means the same thing, which is that he's going to waste your time. Because when he's unsettled like this in his life, he wants to do moving around. He still wants to do some figuring things out. He still wants to live a certain type of lifestyle, which we're going to talk about lifestyle in a little bit, right? All of these things means, right, he cannot commit himself to you and a relationship with you. Are you following me so far? Because if he could, if he was in that mind frame, if he was in a place where he felt settled and he felt like he knew where he wanted to go and he had direction, he would then say, okay, I'm prepared to do everything necessary to be in a relationship because that is the step and the place that I am at in my life. I don't need to go to Miami to experience what Miami is like and South Beach is like. I don't need to go to LA and hang out in Hollywood and go to some Hollywood parties to see what that's like, okay? Anytime you have someone talking about the fact that they still need to experience life and what life has to offer, go ahead, pack your stuff up and exit that date or exit his house if you're at his house and go about your business, because that's not someone you need to be focusing your time and energy on. Because I can guarantee you, when it comes to the seriousness that a relationship will bring when it becomes very serious down the road and he's already feeling unsettled, he's not going to feel more secure or more willing to settle down with you when he's already in a mind state of being unsettled. He doesn't necessarily want to be living in the town or the city that he's in right now. That's another really apparent sign. He doesn't necessarily want to be continuing to work the job that he's working right now. That's another sign that he's very unsettled. All of these very intensely moving parts, I guess we could say, right? They're moving very fast and very drastically. All of these moving parts mean to you that this guy is not ready to commit himself to you. Because all of these moving parts also mean that any one of these days, he could wake up and say, you know what? I actually want to live in Italy. And it's just dawned on me how badly I want to move to Italy. So yeah, I know we both live in New York, but I just decided I'm going to move to Italy and that's what speaks to me. So yeah, I'm going to go do that and I'll see you later. Then you'll be like, wait, what's going on? We spent a year of our lives together. What are we doing now? Nah, I just need to explore. Okay, so I don't want you wasting your time like that. Please, please, I beg you, don't waste your time like that. Does that make sense to all of you so far? I'm thirsty early today, okay? Electric Feel, oh my goodness. Electric Feel donates $50 in the YouTube chat. She says, happy holidays, Players Club, the game, play the game or get played. Precisely, Electric Feel. Thank you for Electric Feel for the $50 donation. Everyone in the chat, in the TikTok and the YouTube chat, give Electric Feel in our YouTube chat a round of applause for her $50 donation. We just started the show. We're on point number 1. And she donating $50. What a generous, generous, generous soul you are, Electric Feel. Thank you very much. All right, let's hop into our point number 2, okay? Now, point number 2, as I kind of mentioned in point number 1, right? Point number 2, lifestyle, okay? Super duper important that you understand what is the lifestyle of this guy that you're gonna be in a relationship with. Now, we're gonna kind of go through a little bit of a funny visual here, okay? I'm gonna try my best to really do this real nice and make this fun for all of us, all right? And let's draw them out here, okay? And so, we're gonna have 2 different types of guys, all right? We'll give him some like Balenciagas or something like that, okay? Something that the kids would be wearing, all right? Money on his pants, because that's what the kids do, all right? So, we've got one guy here who's a club promoter. Then we have another guy here. We'll put like a mask on his face. Wow, boy, this is some artistic drawing I got going on over here. You would think I am Leonardo da Vinci. What's something that we'll just put an H for hospital, okay? He working at the hospital. And he got his scrubs on, okay? So this is a doctor here. And we have over here a club promoter, okay? This is pretty funny. I'm gonna put club promoter. If you can't read that, all right? So The reason that I want to actually point this out to you, because this is very, very important. In fact, we're going to change the doctor one. Uh, I wanted to make it very clear for you guys, so we'll change him from a doctor just because I want it to be very easy to grasp here. So instead, we're going to put, let's say, a banker, okay? So that we're all on the same page here. I want to make this nice and easy for everyone to understand. So we'll have a banker here, and we'll have a club promoter over here. Now, what are some of the things or the tasks that each of these different occupations would have to do? So as a club promoter, you're always inviting girls, right? We're also going to say out until 4 a.m. As a banker, what are you doing? 9 to 5, okay? You're also, right, going to be, let's just say, professional. You're also going to be no need to flirt, right? So obviously there's way more to the job than just that, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. The reason that I kind of want to point this out to you is because lifestyle is a big part of understanding if a guy's going to waste your time. See, when you meet a guy and you start getting to know him and understand what he does for a living and understand where he's at with his life, it's not just, okay, where does he want to be in 10 years and 5 years? All that's great. But you also want to understand, all right, based on like logistics, like what type of jobs are you actually working right now? Okay, because that's also going to tell you whether or not he's going to waste your time, even if he doesn't realize it. So for example, in our example here, the club promoter who's going to be out till 4 a.m., constantly inviting and messaging and calling girls to have them come to the club because that's how a club promoter gets paid. I'm telling you that because I used to be a club promoter, so I know, right? He's always going to be dealing with alcohol and bottles and booze and bottle girls. And maybe if he works at a strip club, he might be promoting for a strip club. He might be talking and knowing the strippers and stuff like that. He's got to add them on Instagram because he's got to know everyone and he's got to talk to everyone. He knows the DJs. He's going around town. He's getting drunk himself. All of that stuff is part of his lifestyle. So when you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to try and build a relationship out of this guy, and with this guy, he wants to take me out, he wants to get to know me, and you learn that he's a club promoter, rather than you saying, okay, I want to figure out how I'm going to make this work with you because you seem like a nice guy and you seem very intentional, I want you to be saying in your mind, oh no, this is a lifestyle that is not conducive to being in a healthy relationship. If you had a different lifestyle, maybe I would consider you, but it's pointless for me to consider you as a serious partner knowing that your lifestyle is literally contradictory to having healthy relationships. Being out till 4 a.m. and popping bottles and booze with random girls that you just met that night and constantly messaging girls and being drunk around them and hanging out at late nights when I'm not around is not conducive to us having a healthy relationship. So rather than me trying to fight against that or have some la la land delusional belief that somehow we're going to make this work, I'll come to my senses and realize that it's better for me to not even waste my own time trying to make something work with you when I know it's not going to work, because your lifestyle is in a place where that's just not going to work. Whereas if you were dating a banker or you found a guy who was a banker, now all of a sudden you might say to yourself, okay, you have a structured schedule. You're working during the day, not at late hours. Your work doesn't require you to flirt with girls. It doesn't require you to be around women, except the women that you work with, of course. And it allows me to be able to set boundaries for you and in our relationship. That's one of the biggest things here, because time wasters, one of the good things that they can use their lifestyle for as an excuse is that if their lifestyle is contradictory to a healthy relationship or to boundaries, it's very easy for them to use the excuse that I'm not being toxic because I'm a toxic person. I'm toxic because everyone else around me is toxic and the lifestyle I'm living is forcing me to be toxic. So for example, when you start dating the promoter, thinking that he's not going to waste your time, what's going to happen down the line when you start noticing that he's commenting or liking girls' pictures, or that you see his phone and he's messaging a whole bunch of girls, and you address him and say, why are you messaging girls and flirting with them? You want to know what the promoter's answer is going to be? Oh, babe, I have to flirt with these girls because I need them to come to the club. That's how I get paid. And then he's going to turn it around on you. He's going to say, you like your Chanel bag, don't you? You like that shirt I got you, don't you? You like that dress I got you, don't you? Well, I need to flirt with these girls for work. Kayla just said it, right? It's for work. I don't actually like them. That girl with the huge booty that she can barely get her jeans over her butt, I don't even realize that her bum is that big. I didn't even see it. I just message her because I need her to come out to the club because that's how I get paid. Now you're in a vicious cycle of feeling like you can't address things, wondering how you're actually going to make a relationship work because you're always frustrated. But instead of him taking accountability for it, he's blaming his lifestyle on it. So what are you supposed to do? Okay? And then very quickly, that becomes a whole heaping large waste of your time because you can't really set boundaries. You can't really address things. And even when you try to get him to take accountability, he doesn't. Because he passes everything off on, it's not me, it's my lifestyle, it's my job, it's what I do, it's work, it's this, it's that. Okay? So you have to do yourself a favor and go ahead and cut these guys out of your life. You can even put a nice big X through them. Go ahead and cut these type of guys out of your life that are living that type of lifestyle. And you want to go ahead and have the guys in your life that are going to be living this type of lifestyle here, right? Where there's more structure, there's more certainty, you can understand what's going on better, and it allows you to have a healthy relationship. Now, I'm not saying that every guy you date has to have a structured 9 to 5, but he should have structure in his life, okay? Right? And there should be the ability to be able to have a healthy relationship within his lifestyle. If whatever it is he's doing makes it impossible for you guys to have a healthy relationship, that's not the lifestyle that you even want to be entertaining with a guy, okay? That could also mean if a guy's saying, oh, I want to start a business, and in the process of me starting a business, I'm going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and have literally 0 seconds and 0 minutes to do anything else except work and build my business. Cool, glad that you're grinding, but that's not conducive to a healthy relationship, because how are we supposed to build off of you working 24/7, right? Not that you can't work, but there has to be some sort of balance where we work together and we also work on our relationship. So those are part of the things that you want to be thinking about whenever you start entertaining a guy or you start dating a guy, because lifestyle is also going to be related and inject itself, I should say, into your dating life. Does that make sense to you all so far? Okay. Cindy says, a guy who has his own business is the best. It's great for a guy to have his own business, but, and I'm telling you this as someone who understands this, some guys who have a business will be so obsessed with their business, okay? Nothing wrong with being passionate, but they'll be so involved in their business, they will not be willing to sacrifice or do anything else except for focus on that business. That's still not going to be conducive to a healthy relationship, because if his mentality is, I'm grind, never take any time to do anything with you whatsoever or pay any attention to our relationship, then that just becomes neglect. And so it becomes a struggle all the same. So there's a balance there. I always talk to you guys about balance. So even in something that might sound good, you still have to do more digging to understand, all right, Mr. I own a business. What do you do? What's your schedule like? What's your life like? You might have a business and you might even be the owner, but do you ever take any time off? Do you ever have any time to even build a relationship? Because if you don't, that's not really going to work here. And if you're not prepared to do what is coming up for number 3, it's not going to work here, okay? So that's going to lead us perfectly into our point number 3. I hope point number 2 made sense to you guys, and I hope the drawing made a little sense to you guys. So let's hop into point number 3 and let's discuss here why this is so important for you to understand and you to be looking for when it comes to your dating stages and the guys that you're entertaining and thinking about being in a relationship with, okay? So, point number 3. Oops. Okay. So you're going to have here obviously point number 3 is sacrifice. Now, I want to kind of give you a little bit of a visual so that we can all be on the same page here. In sacrifice, right? At the beginning when you first start as a single person, as a single man, see, you only have to think about a certain amount of things, right? You think about what do I want? Okay. So then we'll kind of circle that there, right? You're also thinking about, okay, what do I need? Okay. So then we'll circle that here as well. You also think about things like, what is most important to me? And you think also about how do I do things, we'll just put in here, do things for me, right? Meaning, how do I make me happy? What do I need to do for me to make me more happy? Or address the things that are important to me more, okay? It's all me, right? That's exactly what your thoughts consist of as a single man. Now, here's the thing. Some men that you meet, right? They'll be in a state where they're so obsessed with themselves and what they need and what they want. When they start building a relationship, they'll realize that being in a relationship is not just about what he wants at all times. That being in a real relationship is about understanding also what your partner wants and your partner needs. And so there is a required sacrifice there because you're sacrificing some of that freedom to only think about what do I need at this point in time. Because what are some of the things that you can do when you're only thinking about yourself? You can come home whenever. You can say anything, right? And these are just some of the things, and you can do anything. And you don't have to be accountable to anyone, right? And I can't even fit all the other stuff in there, but it's very me-centric, right? Very focused on me and my own freedom to do what I want to do. But when you get into a relationship, you have to sacrifice some of this freedom because out goes some of that freedom, right? Some of that freedom gets escaped out, right? Gets out of this circle here. And your thoughts don't just become about me and what I want. Your thoughts in here, somewhere in here, have to be also about you, right? You meaning you, his woman, okay? And at some point is like a real small little circle here. But at some point, you have to be like the thing that penetrates his thoughts that he's also thinking about. And there needs to be room made for that. And he has to sacrifice some of these things that are important to him, some of the things that he wants to do, some of his ability to come home whenever, say anything he wants, do whatever he wants, only think about whatever he needs. Sometimes I always miss the letter because I'm so excited to do the next thing. Always thinking about what he needs at that very moment, that he doesn't realize that in order to be in a real healthy relationship, he's actually going to have to sacrifice that. And sacrifice some of that freedom in order to be with you. But here's the problem, and this is what I want you to notice as it relates to knowing if a guy's going to waste your time. whenever you start having discussions with him about things that you need or things that are important to you, you're going to start noticing that these men respond to you in a way where they're very agitated or aggravated at the thought or the idea of having to do things for you or sacrifice some of their own freedom for you. So for example, let's just say you're dating a guy and you ask him, hey, last night you didn't message me back after while you were out. What time did you get back? And he says, oh, why are you always on my back? Always asking me where I'm at or what I'm doing, bro. I'll go out whenever I want. You're not going to control me. I don't feel like telling you everywhere I go and everything that I do and everyone that I hang out with. And you're thinking, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a relationship. At least it's supposed to be. You don't just get to do whatever you want to do whenever. You're not going to say that. But you should be thinking to yourself, a real relationship is not just doing whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it. So if your mindset is that you don't want to sacrifice any of that freedom because you don't want to think about me or consider what I need or I want in this relationship, then your alarm bell should be going off. Oh, I see what's going on here. You're only here to waste my time. You're only here to extract from me and not actually invest in me or this relationship for real and actually build here with me, because your focus is on getting what you need, but not on actually doing the things necessary and giving the sacrifices necessary to build a real relationship with someone. Because when you're building a real relationship with someone, there's an understanding that I'm going to have to sacrifice some of my freedom for this relationship and to get this person into my life. So men who are mature and are ready to be in that state, right? This is why I say it's a very particular mind frame that men are in when they're ready to build a relationship, because they're ready for that sacrifice. They're ready for that point in their life. They're ready for the challenges that are supposed to come with being with another person and factoring them into your decision making. But men who are trying to waste your time will obviously not at all be ready for that stage in their life. So they're always going to be pushing back against ever having to sacrifice anything for you. Okay? That includes their thoughts or considering you. That includes their time. They're going to be very, very, very unwilling to make sacrifices for you. And anytime they have to do that, you're never going to hear them stop complaining about the fact that they have to make more sacrifices for you. Okay? Have you ever been in a position like that, Chad? I want to ask because I'm just curious. I want to see who of you have been in a situation like that where a man is very, very irritated at the idea of sacrificing for you. Okay? Very, very bad. I don't want that for you. And I want you to be able to recognize that. All right? So, I hope that makes sense to all of you. Cindy donates 20, I think that's Swiss franc, okay? In the YouTube chat, thank you so much for your donation. Cindy says, thank you for changing my life in some way. I wish you, Tommy, and the chat all the best in 2025. Greetings from the Eiffel Tower in Switzerland. Eiffel Tower everywhere. It's an inside joke, chat. You might not know if you're not one of the OGs. All right, let's hop into point number 4, okay? And I mentioned just a teeny weeny bit of point number 4 in point number 3, but we're gonna get into detail about it right now, okay? So don't worry, for those of you who are less fluent English speakers, I'm gonna break down this concept for you, because when I first say it, it's gonna kind of seem like it doesn't make sense because it's a little bit of a complex term, okay? We're gonna talk about point number 4, which is, we're gonna title point number 4, ROI, okay? I'm gonna explain this. Don't worry, don't be confused, okay? So ROI stands for this very particular terminology. ROI just stands for return on investment. Oh, just fit it, just barely fit it, okay? So anytime you're hearing the word ROI, think of return on investment. Now, what does return on investment really mean? I know some of you aren't into accounting or money, all right? So return on investment just means if I have money here, we'll put this down here. If I have money here, okay, and my money is sitting in an account, and let's say I have different accounts here with different amounts of money. I have an account here with 10,000. Okay. I have an account here with 50,000. And I have an account here with, let's just say 100,000. Okay. And I have an investment on this side. Now, in this investment, let's just say for the sake of argument, I want this investment to 2x my money. Stay with me here. We're not going to go too deep into accounting or math. Trust me, we're going somewhere and I want you to see this. Let's say this investment, I want to 2x the money, okay, that I invest into it. So let's say I invest my $10,000. I want my $10,000 to turn into a smooth 20,000, okay? I want my $50,000 to turn into a smooth 100,000. And I want my $100,000 to turn into a smooth 200K, okay? So the reason I say this is because this is also happening in your relationships, any relationship that you have actually. So instead of money, meaning actual monetary money, I want you to think in this scenario of money as energy, okay? Energy. And I want you to think of the investment as you, okay? Stay with me. Don't worry, we're going somewhere. Now, the reason I want you to think of it like this is because when guys are building with you and building a relationship with you, they're investing time and energy into you. And because they're investing time and energy into you, just like a regular monetary investment, which you would expect some return on that investment, they're also expecting a return on that investment. And so what will happen whenever you're dating a guy or seeing a guy who's going to waste your time, you're going to notice that anytime he invests energy into you, the investment he expects, the return, I should say, he expects out of that investment, right, which is you, he expects, instead of money here, he expects SEX, okay? And in every scenario, whenever he does something for you, whether small or big, his immediate mind and his brain goes to, I expect you to reward me by throwing that dump truck back on me, or you showing me what that mouth do, or for some men, showing me what those feet do. I don't know what he's into, depending on what he's into. And so you're going to start noticing that this becomes his way of saying, oh, you owe me something. I did something for you. And my expectation is that you allow me to jackrabbit myself inside of you. Okay? So I'll give you an example of what this looks like. A guy who takes you out on a nice dinner, and after he takes you out on this nice dinner, immediately after he pays that bill of $200, he taps his card. He says, perfect, just finished paying the bill, like all of you women who don't want 50-50 like, right? Yeah, so I finished paying the $200 bill. You're going to come back to my house, right, and drink some wine with me. And you say, no, I never said that. Our date was supposed to last 2 hours because I watched Tomisin's show and I know it's not going to last more than 2 hours. And yeah, I got to go home and do a whole bunch of stuff tomorrow. I'm not coming over. Oh, wait a second. Let me say this again. I just paid $200 for our date. I didn't make you pay at all. And you came here, you ate food, your belly's full. I made you laugh. I was interesting. And your answer is, yeah, you were interesting. It was a great date. We'll have more dates later on. No. I know we'll have more dates some other time, but you're supposed to come over to my place now and drink some wine with me. Aren't you going to drink some wine with me? I've got a great bottle of Pinot Grigio waiting for you. Drink some wine with me. This is where I want you to start cluing in, because now that he's given you something, done something that he thinks you like or want, his immediate expectation is, give me something that I want, okay? Someone said no wine, Diddy. No Diddy wine, okay, right? So you see what I mean here, right? And you'll start to get that sense. Sometimes you might not realize it because you're not actually thinking about it like this. But you'll start to get that sense when you get better at being aware of what's actually happening. Because some guys will do something and they'll invest in you because they actually want to build with you. So when you tell them, hey, I'm not actually coming over to your house to drink wine with you, we can go on another date, they're like, oh, okay, no big deal. Because their plan is to, instead of their return on investment being sleeping with you and jackrabbing themselves inside of you, to them, a return on investment is just being with you. Because they want you, the human, not want you, the pocket. You know what I mean, okay? Right? They want to actually invest in you to make a wife out of you, to build with you and have a family with you. So in that process, he doesn't mind doing something for you, knowing that at least you guys are growing and progressing the relationship. But the men who are just looking to extract from you and who are eventually going to waste your time, because trust me, once they finish extracting, they'll go about their business. Those men will be very upset at any investment they put into you. And instead of them being able to sleep with you out of that investment, or a footy or a handy or a mouthy, whatever you want to do, he will then be frustrated if that's not what he receives from you. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? So spot that type of behavior. Whenever you're noticing anytime a guy does something for you, he begins to become entitled to your body, or feel like he's entitled to your body, or that's the reward he should receive from you whenever he does something small or large for you. Okay? Because that's not how it's meant to be. He's not meant to be giving to you in some sort of expectation that you'll then sleep with him. Because then that's not really giving, that's more like manipulating. Not even something that you need to call out. I just want you, when you notice it, say to yourself, okay, perfect. I've noticed it, and now that I notice it, I'm gonna go about my business and not invest my time or energy into you. Because I promise you, even when you call it out, they ain't gonna be honest about it, all right? Okay. Justice Liberty says, how many dates before they'll think you're a tease? Well, here's the thing. Both of you are supposed to be here for the same reason, which is building a relationship. So if you're both here to build a relationship, you're going to eventually get to that thing. And we've talked about that many times on the show, right? And how to properly communicate to men that it's not that we're not sleeping together because I'm not interested in you. It's because I want us to focus on the things that are most important, right? So it's very important to have that understanding and never get thrown off by the fact that some guys might be a little bit agitated when you don't sleep with them on the first night. Trust me, men in their agitation, you might think to yourself, I'm upsetting him. Don't worry, it'll pass. Either it'll pass and he'll remove himself from the equation on his own, which is good for you, or it'll pass by him just realizing I better just be patient because I'm not going to get anything from her by being impatient and trying to rush her. Okay? So you just honestly, at some point, you got to ignore what the men want and what they're thinking, and just realize what's actually best for you and the relationship with them is to hold your water. Okay, let's go on to point number 5. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm looking at a lot of numbers on the board, and I know numbers is going to make some of you sweat that don't like math. So I hope I didn't lose some of you who are non-math people. Tell me in the chat, non-math people, did I lose you with all those numbers, or did it make sense to you? I hope it made sense. I hope it wasn't too much damn numbers on the screen, okay? Let's go on to number 5 here. Okay. So number 5 is the follow through. Okay, so it said you're an accounting major, so that was perfect for you. Okay, makes sense. Good. I'm glad that it made sense. All right. Let's go on to number 5 here. So in number 5, we're gonna kind of show a little bit of a loop, and what I mean by a little bit of a loop, we're gonna kind of work together here to kind of understand what's happening and why this is happening. So we're gonna start off. I love these loops because I just really like them as a visual. Okay. So you start off here with the promise. Now, the promise is essentially when a guy will tell you, hey, I want to be with you. I want to do all these things with you, okay? I'm not talking about love bombing. I'm talking about when, let's just say, for example, you start talking to a guy, and let's say you and this guy live 2 hours away from each other, and he tells you, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, next couple of months, I'm going to get an Airbnb. You're gonna come over to the Airbnb. I'm gonna stay 1 week. We're gonna drink some wine. We're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna listen to Daniel Caesar. I know Daniel Caesar's your favorite. We're gonna cuddle so much. I'm gonna stroke your hair. You're gonna stroke my we're gonna have so much fun, and it's just gonna be so amazing, okay? And then when he says all of that, right, what does that do? It gives you a whole lot of hope, okay? And a whole lot of excitement. You're really hyped up about this. You're thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna listen to Daniel Caesar. It's gonna be so amazing. We're gonna drink my favorite bottle of wine. I'm gonna feel so loved and so cherished, right? But after you have all of that excitement from the promise, eventually we can say, right, time passes. And what I mean by time passes is after a while, the excitement of him first saying it is like, oh, in the first few days, you're like, oh my God, I feel like it's happening tomorrow. We're going to do this and it's going to be so amazing. You're doing your happy dance. Then a week goes by. And you're still excited because you're hoping that one day it's coming because he didn't set a date on it. And then 2 weeks goes by, and 3 weeks goes by. And he's still talking about this as if it's happening tomorrow. But you're starting to say to yourself, but it's been 3 weeks and we haven't even set a date. And anytime I ask you about what time or day you're free or week you're free for this to actually happen, you never actually give me a straight answer. So as time passes, you're starting to realize this probably isn't happening. So then you get to a point here where we'll call this, right, the letdown. Because eventually you start to feel like, this isn't happening. All of those promises you're making aren't really coming to fruition. Yeah, they get me excited, but I don't ever see the result of all of the excitement, all of the hope, okay, all of the promises. And so what ends up happening is after you get let down just enough, he makes you a brand new promise. And now he says, yo, I think that I'm gonna have an extra bonus this month for my job. And in this extra bonus, I think I'm gonna be able to buy you a ticket to come stay with me for a week. And if you come stay with me for a week, then we'll have so much fun. Then we'll listen to Daniel Caesar. Then you can stroke and we'll drink so much wine and everything will be so amazing. So amazing. Okay? And that's the thing. It's a vicious cycle of this. It's a promise, then the hope of you getting excited for the promise, right? And then the time passes, and then the letdown, and then another new promise, okay? So it gets you hooked in this cycle here, okay? And this is a little bit like a version of future faking, except this can even happen with a guy that you're in a relationship with and a guy that you're talking to. And you start realizing that sometimes even whether the promise is large or whether the promise is small, it just always ends up going in this cycle right here where you eventually get let down. And so after a while, what I want you to realize is this pattern of behavior is not an accident. This is actually a very clear sign that you're going to get your time wasted. Whether this happens in a very small way at the beginning or whether this happens in a very large way at the beginning, this is a clear sign, probably one of the clear signs that your time gonna get wasted. Because when this starts off at the beginning, it doesn't seem like a very big deal because you're thinking in your mind, I just met this guy, let me give him a chance, let me give him an opportunity to prove himself. But the thing that you need to understand about men, one of the most important things for you to focus on with any guy that you're dating is how capable is he of sticking to his word. So when he tells you he's going to do something for you or for this relationship, does he actually follow through with doing that? Because if you can't take a guy at his word, what is he really worth to you? And I hate to make it seem like it's all about value and it's like a transaction, but that's the reality. If you can't rely on a guy to tell you he's going to do something for you or in this relationship with you, and for him to actually follow through on that, how are you even supposed to be in this relationship as a woman and allow that man to lead? Because when he's telling you, I'm going to lead by doing A, B, and C, and then he doesn't actually do A, B, and C, well, then what are you supposed to do with that man? He can't lead you. He can't do anything with you. And then your only option is to take control of the relationship yourself and progress the relationship yourself and lead the relationship yourself. And now you're the man. Okay. I don't want that for you. And I had someone tell me the other day, I think they commented it on one of the YouTube videos. They said, Thomason, I was following along with you until you said the stupidest BS you've ever said in your life. You said that men should be the head of the household. No, we are the head of the household. Okay. If you want to be the head of the household, that's fine. Perfectly fine. You can let your man take the back seat while you take the front seat and you go ahead and you run things. But I can assure you, if you want to stay in your feminine, you'll be very frustrated trying to lead your relationship and be the head of the household. I'm not saying you shouldn't have opinions or thoughts or be intelligent or speak up for yourself or give advice or give support or give reason and all that good stuff. What I'm saying is, if you want to be in your feminine, you enjoy that, being a feminine woman, having your queen energy, your princess treatment, you're going to have to be in a relationship in which the dynamic is your man is able to lead you because he knows what you need. He cares about your needs and he asks for your input before making a decision. Okay. A guy being the head of the household doesn't mean he's a dictator that makes decisions solely for him. It means actually he cares so much about you that before he would ever make a decision for both of you or for himself, he would first consider what your needs are and what's important to you. So it actually doesn't end up being a dictatorship. It actually ends up being you're kind of the one getting what you need and what you want, and he goes about taking action on those things. But if he's the one taking action on your desires, who's really running the relationship here? It's just the dynamic, okay? So don't get fixated on the idea that he's the head of the household, so it's a dictatorship. It's not, okay? In fact, if we want to actually mention who's really running the show and he's going about taking action on your desires and what you need, you're actually the one running the show. You're just doing it indirectly. Okay, I always have to mention that because sometimes when you guys hear head of the household, you start thinking, oh, he's stepping on you and you're incapable of this. That's not how it's supposed to work. Okay, it's teamwork. But there has to be a hierarchy in order for things to work correctly. Does all of that make sense to all of you beautiful people? Okay, from 1 to 5. Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed here today? Okay, I want to make sure I answer all of your beautiful, amazing questions. And thank you so much to all of you generous people in our YouTube chat who donated to the show. You guys are so generous. Okay. PH says, I've had those kind of guys. Also, quite a few of them won't promise much, but will take me out once in a while without planning it. Okay, so that's the thing. You want to be understanding of how capable is he of sticking to his word whenever he makes a promise to you. Now, obviously, none of us are perfect, so not all guys are going to stick exactly 100% to everything that they've ever mentioned to you. But for the most part, there should be an alignment between when he tells you, hey, I really want to do this thing for you, or do this thing for us, or do this thing that will benefit both of us. You actually see him go about the business of doing it at some point, or working on trying to do it. If there's no action towards that, and he just makes all of these empty promises, because you're going to notice the theme after a while, and he starts making you empty promises, go ahead and pack your stuff up because your time is already getting wasted, okay, if you didn't already realize that. But sometimes you can be in this cycle of having hope for the new promise all the time and getting let down by the new promise that you don't even realize your time is already being wasted because he can't follow through on a damn thing, okay? Does that make sense? PH says he responds to my request, just not on demand on his own time, and that's perfectly fine. As long as he's following through, then that works well as well, okay? Right? Only Yvette says, nope, you made me realize he wanted my time. He wanted your time and he was wasting it. Okay, good that you can realize that, all right? Dees in the TikTok chat says, we've done a lot, but why it stopped? What do you mean? What does it stop? Okay. Oh, Honey says, can you summarize these 4 points? I missed some of it, Honey. And all the rest of you that missed any of the 5 points, I got your back. Don't you worry. All of the information that I talked about on the show is recorded and available on my YouTube page right now. So don't think that you gotta wait for me to upload it because I'm live on YouTube at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. So all you have to do, Honey, and all the rest of you who want to get all of this information, go over to my YouTube channel, which is just above my head. It's just my name. Tomisin. Type it in on YouTube, and you'll go and you'll see I'm already live there. Find the live stream and then click on it, and you can rewind it right now. So you don't have to wait for me to upload nothing. You can go right now and rewatch all the points if you really want them, okay? So I don't have to summarize it for you. You get all the details that way. By the way, for any of you who are watching the show and you have a special, very particular situation that you want me to help you with because maybe it's related to this or even unrelated to this because it's so crazy, but you want my advice on it, go ahead and go to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. Go to where it says private relationship advice. You can type out your question. It's like a 24/7 hotline. Type as much as you want, send in your question to me, and I respond with a voice message, and I send it back to your email, okay? Just me and you, no one else sees it, all right? So if you have a question for me, you can send it in that way. It's like a 24/7 hotline. Great Fortune says, I have a feeling we are the lucky girls of Tommy's life, not the only one he dates. They should probably watch this video. Other girls that should watch my video. Okay. I hope as many people as possible watch the video, but the reality of it is that you guys will be in the small select few that get to have all of this amazing information, be members of the Players Club. Then you get to go out and get all of the select few amazing, intelligent, intentional men that I advise you and show you how to get. And then we can leave all the unintentional, lazy, gamer, soy boys to all the rest of the women who don't watch the show. Isn't that amazing, right? You all get to have all the amazing men. All the rest get left to the people who don't learn this information, all right? Ruth says, narcissists come chase you down at work when you're trying to leave. That's crazy if someone's done that to you. I would hope not, all right? Issa says, chat, who has ever met a man like that? A man like what? A man that will do this or a man that will actually stick to his word? There are men that will stick to their word. I mean, at least I would hope so. I'm sure you'll meet some of those men at some point. Tracy Niles donates $20 in the YouTube chat. She says nothing. She just donates $20 in the YouTube chat because the YouTube chat is that generous. Thank you, all of you that have donated. I really appreciate that. I can't see the donations on the TikTok stream here. I have to pull my certain thing up to make sure it's on there. But any of you that donated coins on the TikTok stream, I appreciate that as well. All right. Manifesting Gratefulness says, so Tommy, where are all these amazing men? I am 60, a little older, and a very accomplished, and I think you meant to say good looking. Well, all of these men are all over the place. I don't want you to think that the amazing men are only, in Costa Rica or in Nigeria or in Jamaica or something like that. Good men are all over. The job that you want to do and the way you want to be looking at it is not, oh, where can I just go that only good men will exist? Because good and bad men will exist everywhere. What you want to be thinking is, how do I create the skill set and have the resources and the tool belt that anytime I meet a man, I'm able to decipher if he's a good man or a guy that I shouldn't be wasting my time on. That's the better way to go about your life, because the idea that I'm just gonna pop you in somewhere, and when I pop you in that one place, all of the men there will be amazing and good and healthy and know what they want and intentional. That's not realistic. And I can never put you in a room like that with only healthy men. I rather need to give you the skill set to be able to decipher the difference between the two, take the trash out of the trash men, and to be able to help you find who the good men are that you need in your life, okay? D says, I love this community. Do you have a chat/broadcast channel? D, I'm one step ahead of you. I do. We have a Discord, which, by the way, in our last segment of the show, we have three. In our last segment of the show, we're going to be hopping into our Discord so I can answer some of your relationship advice questions. So D, and all of you other people who want to be part of that, ask me questions and interact with the community, you go ahead into our Discord. And for those of you on YouTube as well, go into our Discord. The Discord is available through the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. Just click it. Yeah, all you got to do is click it. It'll automatically have you join it. And then if you want to ask a question, you can ask your question in the relationship advice forum. And we're going to answer all of those questions at the end of the show. live on the show. Okay, so we get to interact with each other and kind of help each other. It's a very cool, awesome, amazing part of the show. All right, so before we head into that segment, we're going to head into our second segment, which is our Reacts segment, where I react to TikTok videos that you guys have sent to me about relationships and love and life, and we have conversation about those. Now, obviously, I got to clean up and get my chair ready and my headphones ready for you guys for our React segment. So spam up your headphone emojis, spam up your camcorder emojis. And while I get ready for our React segment, I'm going to play an intermission video for you all. This intermission video comes from Matthew Hussey. He's going to be talking about signs they're serious about you. While he talks, I'm going to clean up, and then I'll join you guys back in just a moment. It won't take me very long. Matthew Hussey, take it away for our beautiful people here.
The way we can tell if someone is serious is by getting curious about them ourselves. Curiosity is strangely something we often don't show enough of when we're first dating someone. We are so busy being impressed by them or observing how attractive we think they are that we're not actually asking the kinds of questions that reveal their intentions, not for us necessarily, because it's fair that they wouldn't have any intentions for us on a first date, but intentions for themselves. And what we want to do here is adopt a kind of relaxed curiosity, one that is about having fun and genuinely just trying to get to know someone in a kind of neutral way. Now, the reason we don't do that a lot of the time is because we worry that we're going to get taken advantage of. Someone has wasted our time in the past. And the way that we try to correct that is by overcorrecting and trying to instantly get all of the information we need about someone to know whether we're wasting our time by even being on a date with them. And often when someone gives us an answer we don't like to a question, we start finding ourselves getting irritable and kind of mad and frustrated because we're like, well, if you feel that way, why are you even on a date right now? Instead, let's take the mindset that someone can't take advantage of me at this stage. I'm just on a date with them. So I don't need to operate in a transactional way here, thinking that there are right and wrong answers. There are simply answers that mean that I wouldn't necessarily be interested in investing any more time in this person, even if I'm having a good time right now, and answers that mean I would be interested in investing more time. When we approach it in this way, there is an added benefit, other than us, frankly, just being able to enjoy ourselves more. It's that we start asking questions with a more neutral tone. We start just being inquisitive, asking them what they enjoy most about their life right now, what they might change about their life right now. If they could wave a magic wand and there was something they could have that they don't have right now, do they get excited about relationships in general? Or are they really enjoying being single? What does single feel like to them? What is their experience of dating? A lot of people get obsessed with, can I ask that question? But what they don't get nearly concerned enough about is the tone when they ask a question. Because actually, tone can make a question that can feel very intense, something that's just good conversation. And the tone that we want to adopt is that neutral, curious tone.
Matthew Hussey, I love the topic of that video because it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. Getting answers is all about asking questions the right way, in a way that gets people to open up to you. So I love that topic right there. All right, let's hop into our React segment. Let's get into our first video here, which comes from the Truth Teller.
Secret, you want to know who men really are. Deep down, you want to get inside their head. You want to know what they're really thinking, how they feel about you. Listen. Not to respond back. Not to get angry and pissed, not to react, not to match energy, not to analyze the situation, to see what you need to say at this moment, to please yourself, to please him. Just listen. Let them talk long enough. Let them feel safe and comfortable with you. Let them run their mouths. Do not disagree. Do not complain. Don't be shocked. Listen. Most of you are listening, but you are not listening. You are listening to respond back. You're listening to cut it short. No. Because with the smallest red flag that you find, you're going to reject him in the beginning, and then you're going to doubt yourself. Maybe I took it the wrong way. Maybe he didn't mean it. And he's going to bring you a lot of excuses, most of them very logical, because they know how to manipulate, they know how to lie. They've been doing it for centuries. They're at the top of their game. So do not get angry, do not get pissed, do not get shocked. They will tell you the vilest shit. Don't be like, oh, no, biggest mistake. Let them feel safe. Listen to the vocabularies, the words that they use, in the context they use it, the examples they give you, the way they describe people, situations. They will tell on themselves 150% of the time. They will tell you things that they have never told anyone, even their buddies, because at this moment they think you have no boundaries. They think you are not judging them. They think you do not disagree. You even agree. So they're going to tell you. You're going to find out about everything. Any questions you have, even those questions that you do not have, and things that probably you do not want to know and will traumatize you, they will tell you.
That's why I always also, I know this sounds really dark, but I agree with everything that she's saying here. And I actually try and teach this to you guys every damn day, because the more you can learn and the more information you can gather, you're always in a winning position that way. You're only in a losing position when you don't allow yourself to gather the information. And she actually mentioned something that I haven't mentioned to you guys, and I think is a really good point as well. When you don't gather the information, or when you react too early on and you don't allow him to go into the details of what he was just about to tell you, now all of a sudden what happens is, instead of you getting that full story, all of that information that would really have told you, oh yeah, I don't need to be with this guy. I don't need to be talking to this guy. He's not who I'm looking for. Instead of that, what will happen is you'll start saying to yourself, based on what he told me, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that big a deal. Maybe I can deal with this. Maybe I can talk to this guy. Maybe he's not, he's not as bad as that little tiny story seemed. And then you'll actually be doing yourself a disservice, because now you'll end up in a relationship with a guy who is actually not what you're looking for, but you don't realize he's not who you're looking for because you were too quick to judge, make a face, or not allow him to just keep going and keep going.
And you will know who they really are. They will perform in the beginning. They will. You have to sit back. You have to be patient. And then when the mask drops, it all flows out like a fucking wave. And then he will tell you everything you need to know in order to make the right decision. Just sit back and relax. They love talking about themselves.
You have to really be a freak to really be into this type of stuff, because I love this. I love doing this, but I know this is not an everyone thing. But the reason I'm advising you to do this is because based on what you want and the type of relationships you want and the fact that you want to stop being confused, this will serve you. That's why I say to do that. I know you have to be a little bit of a freak to be into that and to love that so much, but it is true and it does serve you by doing this, okay? This user, her name is The Truth Teller, so if you guys want to go watch her video in full, you can go on her TikTok channel and watch, okay?
Your body already made the decision for you, baby girl. You don't feel safe with him.
Your body knows, your nervous system knows that he's not good for you. So you feel anxious and you feel unsettled and you feel like something is off, but you're sticking around because you're trying to figure out why and what's going on. No, your body knows before you can figure it out. So just get the fuck out now. Your body already made the decision for you, baby girl. You don't.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. But I also like, I like logistical ways of like working through the issue and understanding how to like get to the root of the problem past just, your body knows. I mean, not saying that your body doesn't know. Intuition is definitely a thing, but let's dig a little bit deeper and figure out, what is my intuition actually trying to tell me? How can I uncover some of the secrets here of what I'm feeling? Because relying on your body to just communicate to you whether a guy is good or bad is not really going to serve you how you think it is. Because sometimes you'll come around a guy that you feel really good about because his vibe is good, and then by the time you actually get to know him, you'll realize it's not really the good vibes that you once thought. So sometimes your body can betray you in that sense, because when you want to like someone, your body will tell you to like that person. And when, you don't like someone, you probably will you won't even bother trying to understand why it is you feel weird around them or strange around them. So there's more to it than just that, I say.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you just got out of a relationship, why the fuck is you already trying to be on somebody else? Why are you trying to bring that person your issues, your problems, and using them as like a escape? You feel me? And let me tell you something. If you are quick to move on, right? Say if you just got out of a relationship, bro, and you already on the next person. Let me tell you 3 reasons why that will happen, right? For one, you was never in love to begin with. For 2, you already was plotting on that person while you was in a relationship. For 3, you have deep-rooted mommy and daddy issues and abandonment problems, and you have an issue with being alone. Some of y'all genuinely believe that you can move on.
It's usually, a lot of times, it's 3.
And heal with another person, like literally right after your motherfucking breakup. And I just feel like that's crazy. I mean, to each his own. But for me, bitch, I need at least 6+ months to get myself right. Actually, 8 months. Because, no, fuck that. 10 months. Because, like, come on now. Come on now. Like, let's just be.
I agree. And I'm telling you this as someone who's actually done that. And, it's funny. Your friends will they'll do you some disservices sometimes, but your friends will do you some services sometimes. And it's good to have a tribe of people because they're able to keep you grounded. I'll give you a little bit of an example here, right? There was a time where I broke up with someone, and then I didn't even realize that I was doing it, but I was like jumping onto someone else because I thought that girl was a vibe, and, I liked her vibe, and the vibe's all over the place, vibes everywhere. And you want to know what's funny? I had met her a couple of times, but nothing serious. And then, we started hanging out more and going out on dates and things like that. And I brought her around my friends for the first time, like my tribe at the time. And you want to know what's so funny? And this is why friends are very interesting. My friends pulled me aside and they were laughing and they were giggling with her. And I was like, damn, she really is a vibe. Even my friends think she's a vibe. And you want to know what happened midway through the party or event that we were at? They pulled me to the side and they said, Tomisin, you don't like her at all. And I said, what are you guys talking about? They said, yeah, she's cool, but you don't like her. You don't even like her a little bit. And I said, what are you guys talking about? She's cool. She's a vibe. You guys were vibing with her. She is a vibe. But that's not what you actually like. You just don't realize it. And I didn't even know what they were talking about at the time until a couple months passed and I came to my own senses that, yeah, she's a cool vibe, but she's not my vibe. And sometimes you might not even realize how much you're projecting onto someone else that you actually think that you like the person. And it takes some sort of realization or snapping out of it to really see to yourself, oh no, I would never even really go for that person if it wasn't for the fact I just broke up with someone else. You know what I mean? But it's part of learning and growing as a person, being more self-aware, but it does happen. And it happens to the best of us, even me.
Sometimes I sit alone in my stunning castle up on a hill, removed from society, alone with my thoughts. I think, okay, if somebody was younger than me and they approached me asking me for advice, or they asked me, when did you know it wasn't gonna work out about anything. It could be my fucking kindergarten crush, hey Victor, and or my high school, it doesn't matter. When did you know that this shit was doomed? And I started writing it down in my little Lamia Aaron journal. Okay, when did you know? And I keep coming back to one moment. And in all 3 serious relationships I've ever had, it's always come to this. When the mom warns you, some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but some of you do. When someone in the family, it doesn't have to be the mom, tells you, run via context clues. You know, so-and-so is a very difficult man. I had one mom straight up tell me, leave him. You are worlds better than my son. My son is punching up. One mom did say that, so don't worry, I broke up with him immediately 7 years later. Listen, I think that moment when someone who has known this person you're with since they were teeny tiny.
Side note, one of the things, okay, I hate to be like morbid and really like, oh, like everything's bad, because it's not. There are a lot of good things in life. But one of the things I want you to start taking notice of in life, you know, a lot of people will tell you it's not that serious. Everything is not that serious. It's not that serious. Okay. I want you to take things serious. When people joke with you, I want you to understand people don't joke from a foundation of nothing. People joke from something that has just a little teeny weeny bit of truth to it. Okay. That's actually how jokes work. They have to be grounded in something real. So the reason I say that is when you hear, for example, from a mother and she says to you, oh my God, I can't believe you're dating my son. Ha ha ha. He's punching up. Oh my God, you shouldn't even try and date my son. He's nothing compared to you. And they're saying it as a joke. So it's ha, it's funny, it's a joke. No. That comes from somewhere real. People don't make jokes like that for no reason. You think if this mother's son was a doctor with his life together, knowing what he wants with direction, that she would be saying that or making that joke about her son? She wouldn't. So I'm not saying that to make you super pessimistic or anything like that. But when people make jokes, it's not always just a joke. In fact, most of the time, it's never just a joke. There's always just a little bit of truth in there. So sometimes you want to start digging a little deeper as to why did you make that particular joke? Why was that the place you chose to go there?
Loves them, okay? Blood with them. Looks at you and says, what? Like that's when, and I've had moments in all 3 relationships where a relative is the mother. Y una vez en español, mija, lárgate. Like,
Tú eres Tomisin.
I think that's when I wish I could like teleport and
I said that wrong. Me llamo Tomisin. Tú eres tú? I don't know.
appear to, you know, my younger self and be like, did you hear the woman? She pushed out this person that you're with and is saying, don't do it. I did the best I could. Don't do it. Sometimes I tell my mom, nice. You raised a good person. Great. You raise someone who doesn't give up on people, try to see the best in people. Great.
My mom would never tell a woman that I'm dating, run. She would never, like, she wouldn't even, I'm literally thinking about, she would never in a million years say that. She wouldn't even joke like that. So if a mom is joking like that with you, I'd say, you better run far, bro. You better run far.
Okay, so I've done a few videos on Shira Seven's content before.
This is her, right? Is that her on her pillow behind her? She sleeps on herself? On a pillow with photos of herself? Okay.
Line thoughts, generally speaking, I think she's an icon. I think that
I notice everything, chat.
her voice is very important in the current zeitgeist because there historically haven't really been any figures like her that advocate for women to prioritize their needs, to get a life, to ensure that they are benefiting from their relationships with men. Okay, that's top line. Next line is that even though her content is about how to date for money, there can still be value to the general message, even if that's not what your ultimate goal is. Next line is that the issue with her content is not necessarily the content itself, it's the way that it's been taken out of context and clipped so that it seems like everything is about dating for money. When in reality, if you actually watch her long form content in context, she emphasizes that it is important for you to always have your own money, okay? You can get money from a man, but you should not be financially dependent on a man. You need to be able to exit an unsavory or a dangerous situation with a man by making sure you always have your own money. If you are financially dependent on a man, it's extremely dangerous for you, okay? Also, she is not suggesting that you just exchange sex for money. Her tactics are more about how to create a mental and emotional bond with a man so that he spends money on you, not that you exchange sex for money, okay? Another thing is that her content is mostly for women who want to date significantly older men. It is not for you in your 20s dating guys in your 30s trying to get them to spend on you. It is you in your 30s and 40s getting men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s to spend on you. And I think the biggest problem of all with the way that Shira's content is interpreted is that there are women who can't even get guys that are broke to treat them with respect, to put in effort into their relationship.
Okay, so a couple side notes there. Someone said 70s, my goodness. Then that inherently means that her content is for a very particular age demographic. So past or under, I should say, a certain age, then the content's not going to apply to you. Because if it's only for people in 30s and 40s to date 50s, 60s, and 70-year-old men, wow, okay, then that's a very, very specific niche there, which there's no problem with that. But I see why for some people it doesn't connect or it doesn't work or it doesn't apply. Okay, I try to make my content as ageless as possible because I feel like attraction and desire and all that stuff and how men think, they don't really grow up that much from 20 all the way to 70. So it's not like I have to work too hard to try and help you guys understand the difference between a 20-year-old man and a 70-year-old man.
Relationships. And you have women like that being delusional and thinking that the answer is for them to learn how to trick men. You don't even understand the psychology of men in general. You should not be going out there trying to beat men and manipulate them at their own game, okay? Most men know how to play games with women in ways that women can't even comprehend. Unless you're spending your time educating yourself on the psychology of men, getting to know men and like de-pedestaling men so that you can have conversations with them without being nervous, so that you don't center their attention and their validation as make or break for your sense of self and your ego. It will be impossible for you to date for money. Okay. If you are coming from a place of being played by broke men, the solution is not to start dating men for money. The solution is to start making a commitment to yourself, building up your self-concept, learning to radically accept yourself, developing discipline around your life choices and your...
Okay. I want to say something, and I don't want any of you to take it the wrong way, but I really mean this, and it isn't even just applied to me. If you're a woman that didn't grow up with a dad present in your life, you should definitely be watching not only my content, but, some relationship people, they don't give good advice, but you should be watching a lot of relationship content centered around understanding men, because if you didn't grow up with your dad, you're actually void of the experience of feeling loved and validated by a man. Are you following me? Because when you grow up as a girl, your first experience of love with the opposite sex is supposed to be your father. So your understanding of how men are supposed to treat you, how they're supposed to love you, how they're supposed to feeling validated by a man comes from your father. So if you don't have that experience, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to date properly with discernment and boundaries, because the first thing you're going to do when you go out and date is to be trying to gain that validation from any man that you meet. All right. But the problem is any man that you meet on the street is not going to care for you and be consistent with you and there for you like your father would have been. So looking for validation in those men just leads to you getting used and abused by those men. So in order to properly understand men, so that you're not confused, that they can't lead you astray, and to properly, like she just mentioned, decenter them so that you're not always desperate for their validation, that you need them to see you and care about you and show you attention to feel good about yourself. You have to almost like, it sounds weird, but you have to watch enough videos and enough content on it to feel like, oh, men aren't that special. And oh, I actually see the game now. And oh, I actually understand what's happening now. Because as you grow in that understanding, it'll become easier, like she mentioned, to deal with men, have conversation with them, but not feel like, oh my God, this is the be all and end all of my life. Like I really need this guy to like me. And every time he plays one of the games that you heard a million times, you've heard me teach about, you've heard someone else talk about, or whatever the case may be, you'll start to be like, oh, I already know what's happening here. You'll feel so much more secure in yourself because you'll feel knowledgeable, you'll feel coached, and you'll have so much more clarity, right? That clarity will make you more confident, and it'll make it so much easier to deal with guys, all right?
I'm going to tell y'all something I've never told you before about what a man will do when he is in love with you. It doesn't matter what this man's personality type is. He will never
Everyone's whispering today. Is today the whisper day?
treat you the same way he treats everybody else. Let me explain what I mean by that. So if he tends to be a shy kind of guy, he might actually talk less around you than he does everybody else if he's more of a shy person. That's okay, because he will still be very attentive to you. So he may not talk to you as much. He'll be listening to you and paying attention to what you say. If you say you need something, want something, he's going to start moving in the direction of where you are to get that for you, or to make sure that you have that. So he's going to be a man of action and not so much a man of words. If he isn't particularly a shy guy, this guy is going to be more talkative and nice around you than he is to everybody else. Be more chatty with you, be more friendly with you than he is to everybody else. So
Okay. I would advise any of you who are thinking about being in a relationship and thinking about what your relationship you want it to be like, have it be the latter, okay? Meaning the guy that you're with, you should have it where, regardless of whether he's shy, outgoing, whatever, have it be where he's always a little bit more outgoing with you, a little bit less shy with you, a little bit more talkative with you. That's the best place you want to be in. I would hope, I just can't envision a scenario in which a shy guy would be more shy with his women than he would be around strangers. That doesn't compute in my mind. It doesn't make sense in my mind. And there's no way I can wrap my head around or get behind the idea that he would be more shy with you, the person that he spends all his time with, than he would be with other people. If that's the case, I think you have a little bit of an issue going on here.
the one thing that this man will have in common, whether he's a shy guy or not a shy guy, when he really, truly likes you, is that when he is around you and he's listening to you and he's interacting with you, he will soften. He'll soften his body language. He'll soften his face. He'll soften his voice. He will soften. Why? Because he likes you. And there's just something about when a man likes a woman, I mean really, really likes her, it brings him joy. It brings out love and warmth and wonderfulness in him that just doesn't really happen any other time in a man's life. It doesn't happen when he's at work with the rest of his family, when he's with his guy friends. The only time that part of him really comes out is when he's around a girl that he really likes. Think about it. That's why guys and his family will kind of like tease him about it and give him a hard.
So, this is a whisper mania here, say some more. But the other thing too, because I know some of you hear this and you start thinking, well, how can I get a guy to do this instantly? It doesn't work like that, okay, first of all. But the way you start off on that path is by building a foundation of, I'm here to understand you because you're the most fascinating person on earth. And I love listening to you talk about you. That's the energy you bring to the very first date. And once you can get that snowball rolling and you can be that person in his mind where he's saying, wow, I felt so free to speak about anything that I wanted to say and felt so not judged by her. That's how you get that going. Because once you can get that snowball rolling, each and every time you meet with him, it becomes easier and easier for him to talk to you. Okay. Now, when you become like a pro expert, boss level, able to get people to talk about themselves like me, you'll have people telling you things that they don't even tell their best friends, their sisters, their brothers, their mother on the first time that they meet you. Okay. But that's like, when you get to the ultimate expert level. Okay. One day you might get there, but it does take some time and some, massaging to eventually practice that to be able to get that. But it's a very powerful place to be. Okay, let's hop into our next segment of the show. For those of you who know what segment is coming, please spam it up in the chat because we have a very, 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 very special time coming up. It's an amazing time. It's an awesome time. And it's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. In the spirit of all the videos we've been watching that are whispering, Discord time. Yeah. Okay, chat. For those of you who have no idea what is going on here, I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret. Discord time is where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Okay, so for those of you who want to ask your question, you can go into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube, and you can drop in your question to our free relationship advice form here. Now, as you can see, all of these highlighted questions I haven't yet gotten to because it's a first serve, first come basis. So in order for me to get to your question, I have to answer. Oh my gosh, we have a lot. Oh my gosh. I have to first do these ones before I can get to yours. So there is a little bit of a line here. It's a queue. Okay. First come, first serve. Now, if you're too impatient to wait, because honestly, it's going to take me 2 weeks to get through the entire queue before I can get to your question if you ask it today. You can also, if you're an impatient type of person, ask your question in our premium relationship advice forum only. This is the only way you're allowed to do this. If you go to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube, click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. Click that link. It's going to prompt you to donate to the show. And it's also going to prompt you to add your Discord username and the title of your question. You're going to add all of those in there when you send in your donation. And then I get a notification on my phone that tells me that that was you and that was your question. And I can verify that your question is supposed to be here. Then I read it out and allow you to skip the line of people who are waiting in the queue. That's the only way you're allowed to drop your question in here instead of the free section. If I catch you, you're going to be in trouble. And I can catch you. Don't think that I can't. All right. So now, if you want to ask me a question, but you don't want your information to be shown live on the show here, you can also ask me a private relationship advice question. And this is through the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. And you go and see where it says private relationship advice. Click that, and then you can ask your question directly to me. No one else sees it, just between you and me, and I answer with a voice message, and I send it back to your email, okay? So let's hop into our first premium question of the day, which comes from Black Butterfly, okay? What is really going on? What is really going on, Black Butterfly? So, Tomisin, do you remember my story about the guy that I was dating who started to become distant once his project failed. I do remember. Well, here's the update on that. I attempted to wait 2 weeks with no contact and got to a week and a half and reached out. Oh, I told you, you gotta let it go and see if he's gonna let it go for 2 weeks. That is your sign that he's not serious about this. But with the message saying, hey, you've been distant lately. Okay. I know you just started your message. I'm going to stand up because this is frustrating for me because I know you're not going to get the response you want. And I already know I'm going to be disappointed when I read the rest of the message and realize you didn't get the response that you want because that's why you're sending in this message. So I'm going to take up. I'm going to get up just for a bit. I'm going to do a stretch to reset myself because I know I'm going to be disappointed in the response you got because whenever you ask guys this or you tell them how they're being distant, they will never respond to you by saying, hey, I'm going to stop being distant now. They'll just say, oh, my bad, and they'll go back to being distant. It never works out, okay? So just doing a little bit for my chakras so that I can feel good when I sit back down and answer your message, okay? Black butterfly, I'm not mad. I'm just a little bit disappointed that you went back on the thing that we agreed upon is exactly not the way to go here, okay? So you said, you asked him, you said to him, you've been very distant lately. Let's see how that worked out for you. Are you okay? That was your question to him. About 2 hours later, he responded and said, hey, not really. I'm grinding very hard. I just found out I'm being laid off. He proceeded to say, I'm sorry for being distant. So he also knows he's being distant. He's not stupid. And that he was just trying to figure things out. Okay. Let's see if anything changed. I responded with a positive message letting him know I understood and that if he needed someone to talk to, that I'm here. So you were like, I think we talked about this two shows ago, being like a positive poly. You're being distant. I understand you're being distant. I'm here to talk to you whenever you need me to talk to you. Okay. It's one of those things that it sounds good and communicative. It sounds like healthy communication. Unfortunately, when you're talking about the modern dating reality, it doesn't always work out how you think it will. So let's see how it works out here. After which I have a few days, I will be sending something encouraging, but he wasn't responding to it. So I stopped. So after a few days, I think you meant to say, you sent something encouraging, and but you stopped because he wasn't responding. So after you addressed him being distant, he continued being distant. In fact, now he started ignoring your messages and not responding. Thanksgiving came around. I was reluctant to send a happy Thanksgiving message, which you shouldn't. You should take this as a sign. But I did anyway, since it was the holiday. He did not respond. So quite literally, oh boy, Black Butterfly, I hope you watched our show yesterday. Quite literally exactly what I described yesterday, using the check-in, right, of the event or the Christmas or the Thanksgiving or the birthday as a way to kind of, he basically said, I need space. Instead of actually giving him space, you did one of these check-in things that isn't actually going to do anything for you. And it's only going to make him feel more suffocated. And they're never going to respond to it how you want them to respond to it. At this point, I said, okay, I'm going to go for 2 weeks and see what happens. I almost made it, but I had a dream about him and this, oh my God. I almost made it, but I had a dream about him and decided to reach out again. No, okay. They never learn. They never learn. Truly, they never learn. Just bear with me, chat, while I just do a little bit of downward dog. Just do a little bit of You know, the reason that we have the Discord here is so that you all can see how patterns will emerge And the men in your life will all give you very similar responses, whether it's your man or someone else's man. The reason I want to give you all of that, right? All of you to see what happens to other people and send in your questions and see how men interact with women, right? Is to help you understand that it's not an accident when I say certain things, or when I'm advising you of certain things. I'm not just speaking out of my butt as if I just made it up in from thin air. Okay, it's because when I help hundreds of you, I start to notice patterns myself. So I want to pass that knowledge off to you by helping you see patterns in behavior on your own. And while I love you all, there has to be a learning process at some point. What I mean by that is, you know, from examples and stories in the Discord, this is not the way to go about it. Yet you chose to still go about it this way, and now you're sending me a question about how it didn't work out. I will attach the screenshots of the last time I reached out, because after that, I never reached out again. So we're going to be nosy, chat, and we're going to read up on these screenshots. Let me pull it up on the browser here. And don't worry, chat, we gonna zoom in. We go deep on this show. So ain't no stress in here. We gonna go deep on this. Let me pull up the part where she is showing us the image here. Okay, there we go. We're going to zoom in on this. So you say, good morning. I hope it's okay that I call. This is how you started the message. Good morning. I hope it's okay that I called you. You're already. I know you left a message, but I wanted to reach out again because I truly hope you're doing well. Trust me, he's doing fine. Okay, he's fine. Right. Also, this is a green message. Does he not? He has an Android? Another red flag. Anyways, you have been in my. It gets worse. You have been in my thoughts and prayers during this quiet time. Why would you say that? I must admit, I'm feeling a bit. Oh my God, you're making it worse every sentence. How are you doing that? How are you actually doing that? Every sentence is getting worse. I must admit, I'm feeling a bit lost and confused about why we aren't able to communicate right. This is horrible. Chat, class, ladies, women, souls. This is not how you go about this. This is horrible. This is textbook what not to do. Black Butterfly, I'm not trying to make fun of you or be mean to you, but this is very bad what you did. It's very bad. Okay? If I had a ruler, I would hit your hands. This is very bad. Because this is not the time to be expressing how you're very, very sad about the communication, very, very confused about the communication, how desperately you need him to reach out to you. Because you're doing two things that are very bad in this situation. One, you're not giving him the space that he asked for, which is horrible, because men will resent you for that. And we talked about that in yesterday's show. Number two, you're not allowing yourself to come to the realization that maybe he's just not that into you. Or maybe he's not the guy you're looking for. Or maybe this relationship has fizzled out. You're not allowing yourself to come to that realization because you want to hold on to this and hold on to the hope that this will still be a thing. So you continue to reach out because you know, this is the thing. I know that this is what's happening in your mind. As soon as you get really close to that 2 weeks and you know, because when I answered your first message or part one of the message, you said to yourself, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And 2 weeks time, if he doesn't reach out to me, I'd be an idiot to think that I'm still in a relationship with this guy. You knew that cutoff date is a real cutoff date. And you knew it don't make no sense to reach out to him if he doesn't reach out to you in 2 weeks. So what's happening is as the time is inching closer and closer to 2 weeks, you're like, oh my God, if 2 weeks comes, I have no excuse to go back to this guy. So you message him as a way to just be like, oh, yeah, Tomisin, it was a mistake that I messaged him, but he happened to answer me. So now we have to restart the 2 weeks. Oh, wouldn't you know? You're trying to be slick. It's not working though. It's not working. And the response you're getting is not good, obviously. Let's go on. The person I met seems so open and I really miss our conversations. I understand that life can be complicated, but even a few words from you would really mean so much to me. Hopefully we can chat soon. This was one long You just begged him. You. I have to be mean for you to understand how bad this is. What you did. You begged him to talk to you and to respond to you and to notice you and to show you some attention, even after you already told him how he's not responding to you and he's being distant. He already acknowledged to you that he's not been responding to you and that he's been being distant. He even told you why he's not responding to you and why he's being distant. And like I told you before, and I tell all of you, just because guys respond to you and acknowledge them being distant, it doesn't mean they're magically going to stop being distant because you address it. You're better off not saying anything and allowing them to come to you when they're ready. And if they choose to not talk to you for a whole 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then you have every right to just move on with your life and not answer him when he chooses to come back into your life after a month. Okay? But that's how you have to go. You have to let men make their own decision about whether or not you're a priority to them. And if they make the decision that you're not, let that be the reality that you live in. Don't try and force them to remember you or be reminded of your existence. It will not work. So then he says your name. I'm assuming that's why you blanked it out. And then he says, I need some time to get my ish together, as he literally as he already stated. I have got to find another job. That's all consuming at this point. Meaning what he's saying is, I don't have any time to worry about anything else except finding another job. Your response, okay, I'm definitely not trying to add to the problem. I understand what you're going through. I will keep you in my prayers and I will respect your need for space. Here's the other thing I'll add for you, Black Butterfly, that I want you to kind of understand here, because I think it's a very important understanding, okay? The other thing that I want you to understand is the way that he's going about this doesn't necessarily make him a bad person. What I mean by that is, of course, communication would be better for him to just let you know what it is and what he wants right now and what you should be doing. But at the end of the day, he's made it very clear to you that he's in no position to put you as a priority right now. And probably one of the reasons for that is so I'll just give you a little bit of a thing here. For a lot of men who are very driven, and even a lot of healthy men, they know that if they don't take care of the provide part of protect and provide, their value as a man diminishes a lot. What I mean by that is, if he don't have no job where he's not making no money, the idea that he would be entertaining you and using his energy to entertain you, take you out on dates, spend money on you, and he doesn't even have a job to sustain him for some men, that idea of doing that order of operations like that, it makes no sense. Okay? And unfortunately, you're just in an in-between stage where you're not his girlfriend, but definitely you're not a random person. But for some men who are like, yo, this is a really important part of my life, they have to, if they're in a situation where that part is not figured out yet, they have to figure that part out before they're able to focus on anything as it relates to dating and relationships. So unfortunately, you met a guy who was in a place where he knew what he wanted and he was comfortable where he was at, and he was able to take care of the provide part of protect and provide. But as the situation changed, he had to change his priority to having his focus solely on that. I'm not saying that makes him a bad person, and I'm not saying that it makes you a bad person for wanting to get some clarity, but I do think he was making it very clear to you what his priority is. I just think that you found it difficult to accept that as a reality, because I don't think he's confusing you at all with what he wants here or where his focus lies. For some reason, all I needed was for him to directly tell me that he basically needed space, and I gave him just that. That wasn't clear to you before? A few weeks after my last message, one of our mutual friends ran into him while being out at a repass of, what's a repass? A repass of a classmate of theirs that had passed away. Okay, so I guess just like a funeral. When she saw him, she asked him, what happened to you and my girl? He looked at her and said, what do you mean? So she repeated the question, and he said that to her that we're good. Now, this can mean multiple things. He might not be in the business of telling people his business. So if he doesn't really know that girl like that, he just might not be trying to share with him everything that went on with you and him to her. Okay, so that does, don't take as much as what you're trying to take from that interaction there. We have an understanding. Then he said, "You have my permission to ask her about it." She texted me immediately telling me that it seems as though our stories were not matching up. And I said, "What do you mean? What lie is he telling you?" She repeated what he said above, which is that we have an understanding. That's a difference of perspective. Because he's not necessarily lying, because he could consider it an understanding that the time you're taking right now is to make the priority of his time and energy to find another job. So that could be for him, I'm just giving you another perspective, that could be for him considered an understanding. Do you understand what I'm saying? Ever since then, I've been very confused, wondering what understanding does he think we have? I just said it, right? Yes, I understand what he's going through. However, I do not understand why we are not able to communicate at this time. Okay, so you're finding it difficult to accept his choices. So he's making a choice to make his priority finding another job. He's not going to be doing anything as it relates to dating or communicating until he does that. I'm not saying whether he's a good or bad person for doing that, but once he communicates that to you, there's nothing else for you to do. You're not going to be able to control his choice in life. If he chooses that I need to figure this out first before I can ever have a conversation with you or call you or text you or do anything with you, then that's his choice. And you have to accept that as the reality, not try to help him understand that his choice should be a different choice, because you're never going to be happy that way. I know that I would never be able to address that with him unless he reaches back out. And if he doesn't, I'm never going to make an attempt to do so, which is what you should have done the first time. I have deleted his phone number and his contact out of my phone, so I would not have easy access to reach out. However, we still do follow each other on social media, and he is always in my stories looking at what I post. If that's a problem for you, then go ahead and I guess muting him would not, he could still watch your stories. But if that's a problem for you, then block him from seeing your stories. Okay, if you don't want to unfollow him yet. That way you're not tempted to see, did he see it this time? Did he see it this time? If that's an addiction for you. Every time I see it, it frustrates me. Then block him from seeing your stories. There's a way to do that. Just figure it out. You can YouTube it, okay? You can set a setting so that every time you post a story, he can't see it. But it doesn't give me the urge to want to reach out. It's just frustrating to see him watching. I made a post of a picture with me and our mutual friend in it, and he put hearts on it. I was shocked because he never reached out to a post until now, and I wondered if it was only because she was in the picture. I'm not laughing at you. It's just funny for that was your thought process there. Then 2 days after that, on Christmas Eve, I posted a picture in my stories of only me, and he put hearts on it as well. Means nothing. Now, this is really pissing me off because what are you doing, sir? Means nothing. What I mean by that is cool. He liked your story. Don't worry about it or think that means that that's some sort of invitation for you to reach out. Okay. So Giselle just in our TikTok chat said, that's not him reaching out, girl. And I want to tell you this before your delusion even starts bubbling up. That's not him sending you some sort of indirect message that you should message. Don't do it. Okay. It's nothing. Do nothing with that information. If he is trying to get me to reach out, then he has another thing coming. It's not. Okay. It's not a sign. It's not a nothing. He'll reach out when he's ready to reach out. That is something I won't do, especially after you telling me you needed some time to get yourself together. And I'm giving him all the time he needs. If he doesn't reach back out, then he won't ever hear from me. Please, I beg of you. Tomisin, I must admit that this is very frustrating. I wasn't even going to write in with an update. I was just going to let things be. However, now that he is actually putting hearts on my post, it's bringing it back up the unresolved feelings. I really don't understand why him being laid off would make him shut his whole world off. I'll explain to you after this. Well, at least the part that I exited. Wait, what? Well, at least the part that I existed in, because he's currently not working. You saw his response. What do you think he meant by what he said in the screenshot? I am not waiting around for him. I am still currently making myself available for others to date me. However, it's kind of hard with him living rent-free in my head because I do believe that we had a good thing going on. He was doing everything right, and we were exclusively dating, which is why I was being supportive. I never made it about me and how I felt, just supporting his situation with the thought of him, still keeping me around in the midst of his setback. And once he came out of it, then I will address anything that had to do with us. As you can see, if that was not the case, as you can see, that was not the case. The minute he found out he was being laid off, his energy went from 100 to 0 real quick. I'll explain that to you at the end. I know that he is a Taurus and they move a certain way, but at the same time, would losing a job shut him down to the point where he could potentially lose out on a good purpose partner? Do you actually think he will come back at some point, or is this just an excuse to be gone? I know that he did not have to respond at all, but he did. However, it still isn't okay that he chose to only think about himself and not address what's actually going on with us. Okay. Let me let you in on something as it relates to guys. Not every guy will be exactly like this, but I'm just telling you this based on understanding people and knowing how some guys will go about their life. Like I mentioned earlier, protecting and providing is such an important part of your value as a man. When you come and you start dating women, part of what you bring to the table is your ability to protect and provide. So if you lose that ability because you lose your job or your business isn't working out or whatever it is, it means your value is diminished. Meaning, when you go out into the dating world, whether it's dating you or dating other people, he can't properly fulfill his role as a man if he doesn't take care of this priority or this issue in his life. And if he's not able to do that, it's better served that all of his time and energy goes into that thing, fixing that thing that is taking away from his value as a man, than to be trying to build a relationship with you that you will actually be more frustrated with, because he won't be able to even enjoy his time with you. He won't be able to focus on you properly because he'll be thinking in his mind, oh, I should be spending this time and energy looking for a job. This is going to sound very strange to you. But what could happen if, let's just say hypothetically, he was to spend time with you and go out on dates with you? He'll be thinking in his mind, every moment that he has a smile on his face or he's enjoying his time with you, he'll be thinking, why the F am I on a date spending money that I don't have because I don't have a job and dating a girl who I can't take care of when I should be using this time to get on LinkedIn and apply for jobs? I should be going through my resume. I should be emailing people and emailing HR people and applying for more jobs and going on Indeed and doing all this other stuff. He'll be thinking, why the F am I even enjoying myself right now? I don't deserve to enjoy myself. I'm not in a position to enjoy myself. I know this sounds very, I guess we could say sadistic, right? Because for him to be thinking that, hey, I don't deserve happiness right now. But some men are like that. When they don't feel like they've taken care of what they need to take care of, they can't enjoy themselves. They can't even pretend to be happy because that is so tied to their sense of self-worth and value. They can't possibly let go and feel okay letting go and relaxing with you when they don't take care of those things. Okay? And Mercedes just said it right. Very purpose-driven men will find it difficult to do that. I'm just telling you this is a reality, right? Very goal-oriented men will find it very difficult to enjoy themselves if their goals aren't being achieved or if they're not working towards what they know they should be working towards. So unfortunately, sometimes when you get a really driven, purposeful man, if his priorities go out of whack for whatever reason, he will not be able to focus on anything but getting through what he needs to get through. Unfortunately. And as weird as this is going to sound, because I do love you and I want to see you win and I want to see you happy in relationships, that's actually should be his response. This response of let me focus on, if it truly means like he's actually focusing on what he needs to focus on, which is getting a job, if this is his response to this situation, I honestly think this is a better response than to pretend to just be with you and to go on just casually dating you, but then to not show up for you as he should as a man. Then you're more confused because he's half dating you, half not really dating you, not being very intentional with you, kind of flopping on you, being very aloof with things, and then you'll really be confused. Because I don't think in his message here that he actually confused you. I don't think in the screenshot here this is very confusing. I don't think in anything that he messaged you before this that is very confusing. I think the only part maybe you were confused about was at the beginning before he told you what was going on. But I think after he responded to you and told you, hey, I got laid off and that's where all my time and energy is going, I think that that was him making it clear to you what he wanted, what he was thinking about, and why he was not being very attentive to you and your needs. And I think at that point, all that's left for you to do is accept that as a reality. And I don't even think that that reasoning is a bad reasoning for being, distant. Because I do think that as a man, if he hasn't solved that issue yet, what reason does he have dating? Not only just you, but dating anyone. If he can't take his wallet out and confidently pay for the date, what reason does he have dating you? Because you're not going to be happy if he starts talking about, well, maybe we should both pay for our own dinners. You wouldn't be happy if he started talking like that, I'm assuming, right? So if that's the case, he's got to figure out how does he get his money together? How does he get his life together as it relates to his career and his job so that when he goes on the date with you, he can properly be a man for you, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's all I'm going to say to give you more perspective on that. Now, obviously, like you said, you're going to wait it out. And if he doesn't message you, at all, and he doesn't choose to reach out to you at all, then you're just going to let that ship sail, which you should. Okay, because I'm looking at it from both perspectives. You're not supposed to be waiting around forever. And after the 2 weeks, I advise you to just let the situation, just move forward from the situation totally. But if he's all of a sudden says, yo, I want to prove to you that I really want this and I'm ready now to focus on you and you want to give him a chance, I'm not going to be opposed to you giving him an opportunity, because I don't think that he did this as a way to like spite you or be unintentional with you. I think actually he just came through a situation where that required all of his focus. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here, which comes from Stacy. Stacy says, how to pace physical intimacy toward commitment. Okay. Hi, I'm 33 and this man is 34. I've been on 2 dates with this guy and he kissed me after we walked home on our last date. We are going out again this Sunday with his dogs to a brewery. I really like him because he makes me feel safe and taken care of. And he is funnier than me. Okay. Which is rare. Haha. Kidding. For example, before we went out and before I knew he actually liked me, he bought new batteries for his lawnmower and fixed it, as well as borrowed his friend's chainsaw and bought a new part for it and fixed it as well. Wait, what? Okay. To drive out 3 hours on a work day, rearranging meetings to help me. Oh, okay. So he did all that to help you. I was like, where's this going? Necessary background on me. I'm Catholic and started with a firm vision in my mind. I would not accept pineapples before marriage. Okay. And I hope nothing has changed. As I have gotten older, I realized I'm grateful for this because I'm very sensitive. And I realized if I had pineapples with someone, if I wasn't having pineapples with that person, wait, what? I realized if I had pineapples with someone, okay. I think you meant to say, I realized that having pineapples with someone, it would be a mistake if I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life with them. I would be very hurt and sad. Recently, I realized it would hurt me too much to do that. And I think it's also actually a good filter for me where, if a guy wasn't looking at me that way, he would keep going for pineapples if they were available, and then I'd get hurt. So it's a way for me to protect myself and keep on a better timeline. I 100% agree. My question is, how do I let a guy progress the physical intimacy in a way there is good progression that he can feel good about it? I actually had a whole show specifically on that, how to allow men to feel like they're progressing and make them feel that appreciation without actually sleeping with them. I am very attracted to this guy physically, so I'm wondering, how can we both feel good about the progression timeline-wise? Can you give me detail of what types of intimacy on each date and how many dates /timeline? How fast does a guy try to progress if he's serious about committing? At what point, how many dates would it be okay to accept a date at his house? At his house, how far can it go physically while still avoiding pineapples? Well, that's not really a question for me. That's a question for you and your own willpower. So we'll get to that at the end. I was thinking to let it progress until he tries to take it to pineapples, and then to explain that I'm very attracted to him, but it would hurt me to have those with someone if it wouldn't be the same person to be committed to for the rest of my life. And at that point, if he's okay with that, okay, so I'm going to, I don't want you to make mistakes here. You're going to make mistakes if you do it like this. I think guys tend to get more addicted emotionally after they talk to you for months. So that's why I would rather wait and not mention it sooner, because I'd rather let everything progress naturally. Anyways, my main question is for details on a date-by-date basis for progression of intimacy and touch in a way that a guy will feel good about as well. Any other advice that you have? Okay, so first thing that I would ask you is, I'm assuming that he's Catholic as well. I don't know. You didn't mention it. Maybe he's not. But here's the thing. For you and your situation here, I actually don't want you, because if you're lacking in experience here, I don't want you, I know even, you're 33. I don't want you going over to his house though, if you're not sure how to navigate like getting out of a weird situation. What do I mean by that? See, you can go to his house, right? But here's the thing. If you don't understand how to if he starts saying, hey, let's, sit on the couch and we'll snuggle up together under the blanket. That sounds good, right? Then he might say, okay, let's do a little bit of wine drinking. You're drinking wine now. You're snuggled under the couch or under the blanket. Then he says, oh, my back hurts. Let's go into the bed and snuggle up. Okay, we go into the bed and snuggle up. Now he starts touching you. Now you start feeling some things poking. Now he starts rubbing up on you. But here's the other thing. If you don't have self-awareness and you don't know what things could trigger you, he might start rubbing up on you and touching you in a way where it really turns you on. And I have to be really honest about this. We have to have a real conversation here. If you are not aware of your own triggers, he might start touching your dump truck, touching parts of your body, groping on you, whatever it may, grabbing your neck. And that might be the one that sends you over the moon, where you're like, oh my God, don't do that. I don't know what to think right now. I don't know what to feel right now. The problem with that though, once you snap like that and he does that one thing for you that will take you there, now it becomes very difficult to make logical decisions anymore. And you'll start justifying a whole bunch of stuff in your mind because you're not able to think straight anymore and think about all the stuff you've been trying to set up and all the things and all the boundaries you wanted to have. Now you're just thinking about how good it feels to be groped, how good it feels for him to grab your neck, how good it feels for him to kiss your neck, whatever your thing is. Now you're in a very tough position, because there were decisions that you wanted to make when you got into this situation, but now your body and your mind is telling you to make so many different decisions. And it can easily become a situation where you become carried away and you end up doing something that you only realize was a mistake afterwards. The reason I say that is because if you don't have experience in relationships and how they work and, the talking and the dating stage, you will make this mistake. 100% guaranteed. Because it happens to a lot of women, okay? And if you don't understand this and have this understanding of yourself and what your triggers are, you'll figure out when you actually get triggered. And by then it'll be too late. So I say all that to say, for you, I think you need to ease into things and understand first what your triggers are so that you don't get triggered and then realize later on after you make the mistakes that was a trigger for you, because you can't be finding that out on the fly. So I think for your situation, things need to go extremely slow, especially when you're planning on holding things out until marriage. Now, obviously, at some point you are going to go over to his place, but in my humble opinion, for your situation, I think that the conversation should happen of the fact that, you are waiting until marriage. That should, if you're really serious about that, that conversation should happen outside of being at his place and before he's so horned up that he's ready to sleep with you. Because I think he'll take it a lot better when you have that conversation before he's horned up and ready to put it inside you. And I also think he'll be more of a sponge. willing to be understanding of your views and your values, and less frustrated in that situation of you not telling him beforehand. I know that I usually advise you guys to not be so upfront with, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. But I do think that for your specific situation, and assuming that you probably haven't slept with many people and don't have a lot of experience, that conversation should probably happen beforehand, so that at least you don't have to be you trying to navigate that conversation while you're horned up or he triggers you will be way more difficult for someone like you who has less experience. Better for you to have that conversation when it's a Tuesday, afternoon, and you guys are out somewhere and, you're not both horned up. That way he can receive what you're saying, you can receive what he's saying, and you can get an understanding of how he really feels about that. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do in terms of getting a sense of where he stands is asking him, hey, what are your views on marriage? If he's a Catholic man, you can ask him directly, how much do you really follow the religion? Like, how strict are you about following the religion? Then he might tell you some things. Oh, I do certain things, but as it relates to drinking, I drink, smoking, I smoke, I still, sleep with people, da 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 da. Then you might start thinking, oh, so is that something that you were, expecting to happen here? Is that something that you were thinking would happen here, or whatever the case may be? You don't have to ask it directly like that. But then as he's talking about what he does or whether or not he's serious about his religion, you'll start getting a sense of how much is he expecting that to happen here. And if that's his expectation, then this might not be the relationship that you want to align yourself in, because you and that guy should be aligned in the same sense. Okay. And so that's definitely a conversation that you need to have, and that you should be having, especially if that's something that's important to you. Now, as it relates to the timeline of things, I actually have a whole show that's titled I have a show on how to pace men. So you type that in on YouTube, you can find that show that addresses all of that. And then I have another show about how to avoid having pineapples with men, having sex with men, in a way that will have you not being in a precarious situation. And then within that, there's also a show on how to progress things, how to show men appreciation, I believe it's called, or how to show men you like them without looking desperate. That's the show title, I believe. Watch that show, and that will tell you how to progress things properly. Okay. Not that I don't want to explain it all to you, but there's a lot of detail involved in that I want you to get from those shows. So write those shows out there and watch those shows. You'll have all your answers there. Okay. Let's go into our next question, which comes from Vicky. Vicky says, follow up again. Oops. Stalled communication. I sent in a question recently about an issue I'm having with a very new guy that takes a long time to respond. To help you remember, it is the 5K roses guy. So he sent you 5,000 roses. That's that guy. I remember now. I have attached screenshots of the recent issue that I don't know how to respond to. As you can see, he initiated conversation but did not respond to my last response for 5 days. I was aware that he was visiting a mountainous region of Russia, but I still find it hard to believe that he did not have signal for 5 days or the chance to send an update. Once he got back in contact, I just ignored. And now he has asked a couple of days later if I am upset. As you said in the past, appear unbothered. I don't know, should I say I was busy? But I also want him to know that this infrequent communication is not something I accept. Please help what I should do to respond to his last message. Okay, we can just quickly go through this. Hello, how are you? Then he sent a picture of him at the mountains, right? And then you didn't obviously respond to that. Why didn't it click here? Yeah, you obviously didn't respond to that. And then he said, are you still angry at me? Okay. Then this is more screenshots here. He said, hey, just finished at the gym. What about you? He said, missing you. You said, oh, so nice. How's it going at work? This is just kind of like small talk here. Okay. How's it going? All good. What are you doing? Right. So that's kind of like small talk here. Okay. So Vicky, this guy that sent you 5K roses, what I want you to do is leave him alone. I don't mean leave him alone as in like block him or delete him or anything. I mean leave him alone as in don't bother him with you trying to get him to talk to you more. I know it sounds very silly and, not like real advice, but that's all you can do. See, you're a woman. And we never want you in a position of less power where you're begging a guy to talk to you more. You always want to be in a position where he's asking to speak to you more. So whatever pace or frequency he feels like talking to you, you let him talk to you at that pace or frequency. Unless you decide to yourself at some point, this frequency is not going to work for me and I can't even bother to continue this, then you go ahead and move forward with your life and just stop talking to him overall. Ghost him if you want, really. The reason I say that is because, in our first message of the day here, if you were here watching all the messages, you see how I always tell you, don't bother telling men how distant they are. Don't bother telling men how you want to talk to them more or see them more, how they're not talking to you. Because what ends up happening is even if they apologize, they say, sorry, I didn't mean to, whatever they say, they always end up just continuing to do the same thing anyways. So it becomes a waste of your time to even address it because majority of the time, guys just go back to their default setting. So it's better for you to keep your power in that sense, not say anything, and allow him to come to you when he's ready to come to you. Now, if you decide that you just don't like the way that he communicates with you and you don't like that he's not showing you enough intention, go ahead and move forward completely. But don't keep yourself in limbo where you're not sure whether to respond to him or address that you're angry about his response to you. Because the reality of it is, every time that he feels like sending you a message, he sends you a message. And every time that he doesn't feel like sending you a message, he don't send you no message. So I know it sounds very stupid and silly, but what you have to realize is that the guy will reach out to you when he feels like reaching out to you. And if he doesn't reach out to you, then that means he doesn't want to talk to you. And the best thing to do in that scenario is to just accept that as the truth. And that if he really wanted to build with you and progress this relationship with you, he would just reach out to you and text you or reach out to you and call you. So all of your thinking of maybe I should strategize to get him to realize this or see this or message me more or talk to me more, it never, ever works. It never does. I'm sorry, but we're in 2024, about to be in 2025. And I'm telling you the real dating secrets of today's world. It doesn't work to try and get guys to message you more or call you more or text you more. They never actually do it. And even if they do it for a bit, they never actually stick to it. They always return to their default setting of however much frequency they wanted to talk to you. However much they wanted to ask you out on dates, that's exactly what they stick to. You're never going to get a guy to want more of you if he doesn't actually want more of you. And if you really want him to want more of you, you're better off just pulling back to get him in a position where your pulling back makes him push forward. If you really want that. Okay? So my honest advice to you is to do nothing. And let's see if he starts pushing forward and at what frequency. And if he doesn't start pushing forward at all and the 5 days turns into 2 weeks and the 2 weeks turns into 3 weeks, then you just say to yourself, perfect. Now I know you're not really that interested enough for me to even bother myself with you anyways, and then I'll move completely on. That's always the best course of action. Okay? All right, chat. That is the show for today. I know we had a few long messages, but they were very in-depth and detailed. I think they were good messages today. So for those of you who want to ask me a question about your relationship or your situationship, you can do that, whether it be through our free relationship advice section, our premium Discord section, a relationship advice section, or our private relationship advice section, which just gets sent to me. No one else sees it. All of those links are available in my TikTok bio or in my description there for you to find and access. Okay. For those of you, let me make sure I answered all of our donations here and all of our super chats. Let me address all of these super chats. Nicole Cottom donated $5. She said this info is so helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much, the generous Nicole Cottom. Henya donates $10. She says blessings for a meaningful, elevated, successful new year. Thank you so much, Henya. I really appreciate you for the $10 donation. Happy New Year to you as well. Great Fortune Cookie donates $100. I don't know what that currency is. I always forget, but thank you for donating 100 of that. I really, really appreciate that. Wow. Give a round of applause to Great Fortune Cookie. So generous, Mrs. Great Fortune Cookie. Wishing you a great weekend, brother Tommy. And thank you so much, Great Fortune Cookie, for your donation. I appreciate you so much. You're always here participating and so generous. And thank you all in the TikTok chat for your gifts as well. I love you all. Okay. For those of you who are, today's Friday. I was going to say, for those of you who are wondering, today's Friday. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen. It's Tomisin_Tub. For those of you who are on YouTube, it's in the description there at the bottom. You can find my Instagram, Tomisin, TOMISIN_ATOB at Instagram. Then you can find me there and follow me there. For those of you who are on TikTok watching the show and you want to rewatch the show from start to finish because you missed some parts or you came late, my YouTube page is just above my head on the top right corner of the screen. Type in my name. You can just type in my first name, TOMISIN, on YouTube. Go to the live section of my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok chat embedded in the video. So it's very interesting dynamic to watch there. For those of you who want to rewatch, I said that already. For those of you who are wondering what time I get on live stream, it's every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, even though I be coming late. It's supposed to start at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I should say I'm not going to be here tomorrow because obviously tomorrow's Saturday and then obviously not on Sunday. But on Monday, I will be back again at 4 p.m. EST. So you got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. All right. Until we meet again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can go on my YouTube and check out all the videos I'll be posting throughout the weekend. But until we meet again live, goodbye for now. Arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam, adios, bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Or I always say tomorrow. I'll see you again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy your weekend. It's not going to be New Year's during the weekend, right? Yeah, we still have a day after that. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holidays. Stay safe. Don't do anything weird or strange that'll have you messaging me in the Discord for advice. And I'll see you again on Monday at 4 p.m. EST. It won't be long.